this series of videos, I want to be very meticulous. So I hope you'll be patient with me, and as I go along, you'll find this interesting. Thanks again. Okay, I'm going to start on the rest of the decals now, and Glenn's instructions here. And what he does is breaks it out into if you're building the tracker or if you're building the trader. So I went through this and put a box around the ones that I want to do from the kit. Now, there's this one up on the nose, number 36. I don't think it goes on the trader, so I've crossed that one out. And then the additional ones that are needed are the nose numbers, which I've already done. This Enterprise. So again, I have these Starfighter decals that they blew up from the 1 to 700s. If it's the right size, I have a couple of others in here. I have this Enterprise that I didn't use, also from Starfighter for the E-2A, and then this USS Enterprise. So I'll cross that bridge when I come to it, but I've got 3 Enterprises to choose from. And then again, this flag was too big, so I went out and bought this set for the flag, and I believe it's this one. The arrows. On the tracker, it has 4 arrows. But on the trader, it has 5. Check the spares, and I found these, and they look exactly the same. Tail 31s, which I said I'm going to overlap those again, similar to what I did on the front. I have the sets to do that. So I already put the warning on, again, from the kits. So these insignias, and then I'll use a very small 031 from that smaller set to go on the front landing gear door. These go on the landing gear doors on the engine nacelles. And then here's the other side, so again, same as the previous side. One other interesting thing is up in here, there's these 3, I'll put the reference up. There's kind of these 3 circles here. It looks like those are dials, which is kind of interesting. So I have these instrument panels from my leftovers, and what I may try to do is, take a couple of those circles out of there and put them on to simulate those dials. So between the kit decals and then cobbling together spares and aftermarket sets, I think I have everything I need. Okay, so those are on that clear decal sheet. It's really hard to see the white under there, but trust me, it's there. So now, similar to how I did that 031, I'm going to cover those with liquid decal film, let that dry, and then cut those out and put them on the model and see how it works. Okay, there we go. That's got the salva set on it, so I'm waiting for that to dry. I do not know what that is. Now, it kind of looks like a G, but I can't be sure. And you can't see it on any of these photos, but on this video, I've watched it 5-6 times. I don't see that on there, but again, this is very fuzzy. I don't have a G, at least not a lowercase one, and I'm gonna leave that off. I'm gonna do these flags next. Here you can see it goes from about 1/3 of the way back in that loop to just past the bend there, right about there. That's that one right there. Okay, that's what I thought. All right, there we go. These are coming away. So my trick to that is to touch a little future floor wax, a drop, and let it flow under there. And then when that dries, hopefully it grabs it and sucks it down. Yeah, it's happening there too. Now I'm gonna do that Enterprise. All right, so these are the ones that Starfighter, yeah, I thought so. They're too big. Everything about this is too big. All right, so these are also the Starfighter that were for the E-2A that were also too big, but I think these are gonna be just right for the trader. So I'm gonna go with those. Yeah, that's, like almost a perfect fit. So look at the E on that line and look at the R. It's actually on the line of that R. Same thing there. So that line is with the R and the E is just over. That's like the perfect size. And it looks like my future floor wax method worked there. Those nestled down. Next I did the tail numbers, and what I do is I use my ruler and I cut the entire row of numbers out, and then when you put it on the model you just line up the carrier film and you should get a nice straight row of numbers. So the navies that came with the kits decals I thought were too big. So I went with these from the spares. So I used those, and I think that looks pretty good. On these arrows, I didn't have enough that pointed the correct way, so I cut the rescue out of there, and then I'm flipping the arrow and the end around. All right, there we go on the arrows. So there's those two. And then those two on the top, and then that one going to the back hatch there is the one that's 3 pieces. And here's the insignias on the wings. So I think I've got those right. And the 031 on the wing. So now I'm going to try to do these. These are, as I showed you in a reference before, these are like dials. So I'm going to try to find something in there that I can use. And then there's no decals for these. So what I think I'm going to do is maybe make some rectangles, white rectangles from the white stripe decal, put an X up there, and then, you know, just find a decal with, you know, a couple of lines on there and put that below and try to fake those. All right, I cut 3 of those dials out, see if I can use those, and then there's a couple of X's. All right, there's those 3 dials. Now, let's see if I can make those other ones. So that white one needs to be basically as tall as the 2 dots on the right. Something like that. I believe these stripes are about that size. Yeah. And then in the spares here, so these are some sort of warning. I cut that warning off the top and then trimmed around them. All right, now I'm going to let those dry on top of there and try to put that on there as all one decal. So you can make them out there a little bit. Again, this is kind of blurry. So here's what I came up with. I think that's going to work. Next is the landing gear doors and this number 25, and then a small 031 on that front door. And there's the landing gear doors. All right, and I put those back wings on. So after looking at the video, that navy was too small. So I just doused it in Salvacet and pried it up and got them off there. I'm gonna hit it again with the clear and then use these larger navies from the kit. All right, I think those navies work better. So that A is right below the white and the Y is below the other one. There you go on the other side. So yeah, I think that's gonna work. Starting with the weathering now, and I'm using the chalk wash as well as the Tamiya black panel line. And I started with the wings, and I think those are looking pretty good. Now I'm gonna move to the plane. All right, you can see on here this exhaust trail. So I tried to simulate that on here. Again, I'm trying to only do like the moving parts and not a full wash, because for the most part, you know, the plane is pretty clean. And there's the hatch on top and the door there. Again, pretty happy with the way that's coming out. So I just put the landing gear doors on. I'm ready for dull coat now. I covered those front windows with the parafilm. The side windows were already pretty cloudy, so I'm not going to bother covering those. Done with the dull coat. I think it came out pretty good. Kept those windows shiny. But everything else is knocked down. Got rid of all the sheen. And and pretty happy with that. If you can see on here, there's those two silver circles on the inner side of each engine. So I double checked the placement on each side. So what I did is actually cut them out of bare metal foil. I still have that one to go, so I, traced them out with my circle template and a sharp number 11 blade, and so now I'll peel that one up and put it over here. All right, there we go. So now the next thing to do is to build these supports for the wings when they're folded. You can see there's like a handle on there. I guess that's like to adjust the height or whatever. I started digging through the spares. I found these, and you can see that little piece that's sticking up. I'm gonna kind of use that to put the handle on. And then I'll bring it down and go up from there, probably using these same things again. And this is how tall it needs to be. Okay, this is what I came up with. So I think it's pretty close. One last look before I put those wings on and cover that up. Pretty happy. I think it's pretty close. There's a few things off here and there, but all in all, I think it's pretty good. So next time should be the last video. I'll put the antenna wire on and put the wings on. Until then, thanks for watching and happy modeling.